Hi all, this is Lynn with Paper Life, and today we are going to be working on our Junking It Up challenge, November week 4. Usually I have it printed out here in front of me, but I can't find my printout, so you're just going to have to take my word on it. I'm hoping that I have this uploaded before Thanksgiving, so if I manage to accomplish that, hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. If I didn't accomplish that, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. So, this week for the Junking It Up challenge, it is make a tag with the theme of fall or autumn. Before we get started, I apologize if my voice sounds all weird. I'm still getting over a cold and I'll probably have to drink some water. But here's what I was thinking for the I keep wanting to say daily and I keep wanting to say October or December. Can you guys tell where I am still in the mindset of? We are going to be starting up our December dailies very soon. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a book page background for my tag. So all I'm doing is kind of tearing this down to about the size I think I want my tag to be. Because I plan on having some layers going on in this. I made some acrylic skins, which was something new to me, but a friend sent me the Somerset Mixed Media magazine, and that was one of the things they had in there as an activity for you to do. So I was like, well, let's give it a try. Kind of had fun doing it and trying to continue to use them a little bit, because that's one of my big problems is that I will be like, oh, here's this new great idea, let me try it, and then I never use it. So I'm going to attempt to break that habit. Yeah, right, let's be honest. So let's see, so far my tag is about 3¼ inches wide, and it's gonna be kind of a big tag. I don't know why I'm in this. If I'm gonna make a tag, I'm gonna make it big. I really don't care to do tags. I don't know why, and I know you guys hear me whine about it every time we have it as one of our challenges, because it's just not something I love to do. I don't know why. This is the part that drives me crazy, putting these little tags, tabs, whatever you want to call them, on the corners. Just trying to get this started a little bit with my, what are those thingies called? Tweezers. I cannot believe that November is almost over. I feel like this month has been a whirlwind of crazy and good. I mean, there's a lot of good that happened this month, but just a lot has been going on. So there's my basic shape of my tag. Before I go any farther, I have some of this fabric that I bought from Lois, one of our friends. She has a Facebook selling group, and I love deer, so for me this was perfect. I'm trying to figure out kind of a deer that I don't want it to be massive, but I don't want it to get lost on the page either. So I think I'm going to go kind of with like one of these medium-sized ones. So let's see, grab a pair of scissors. And I'm just really kind of sloppily cutting this out, hopefully. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Okay, so let me kind of see if I think this is going to work still. I'm probably going to need to put something behind him because I feel like that's going to be lost a little bit, but let's go ahead and continue with the thought process. I know you guys have seen me do this. Sorry, I needed a drink of water. Seen me do this technique during our October daily. However, it is one of my more favorite things to do, so I'm going to grab my clear gesso. Yes, I desperately need to make more of this. Grab my paintbrush. I was talking to a friend of mine who commented that every time she uses a paintbrush with a paint-like substance, that it tends to harden up on her. And I kind of have to agree with that. I don't think, when I've attempted it before, it seems like I can never get it rinsed out thoroughly enough. So one of the things I've done, and it's mostly out of laziness that I came across it, but I have my cup that I just keep some water for rinsing my paintbrushes out. And quite often, because I've just been lazy, I keep my paintbrushes in there. It seems to help with my brushes not getting hard over time. Now, like I told her, I'm just using cheap paintbrushes, so if it ruined it, I wasn't overly stressing it. So if you're using high dollar paintbrushes, don't do that. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I usually try to keep the water below where my metal makes contact with my wood here, and it hasn't dislodged that. Now, I did have it happen on another one of my paintbrushes, but that one I was actually rinsing out, so I don't understand it. So what I've done is I just coated the back of my fabric with my clear gesso, and I'm going to set that to the side and have it dry, hopefully, because you guys all know that I do not like using my heat gun. I just got some more cornstarch in the other day, so I'm hoping to make some more gesso. Oh my goodness. So what I want to do with this, oh, I don't know why I put my gesso away. Now I gotta get my paintbrush back out of the water, but at least I didn't go through all the effort of cleaning it and doing all that. Now I just gotta dry it. Okay. And I'm just gonna slather some of this on my cardstock here to hold down my book page. And you guys all know this is why I prefer clear gesso over like Mod Podge, is because I can still go in and distress it. I can add other features to it if I want. It's not set in stone at this point. And I probably should have put it on here instead of on my paper, because it does not work when I try to guess what size my paper is. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on both of them now, apparently. You guys may hear my phone vibrate in the background. Sorry, I'm waiting on a phone call. I gave up. I decided that if I waited around for them to call, they were never going to call me. If I start recording a video and trying to get something accomplished, then they'll call me. Isn't that the way it works? Now I want some of this cardstock to show. I'm going to make kind of a border with it. So that's why I didn't come all the way over to the edge. I don't know why I put long sleeves on. They drive me crazy and I always have to pull them up. But I always put them on. Okay, grab my ruler. I thought I got out my razor blade, but I guess I didn't get that far. Go figure, I would forget something. But it's not that far, so. So it looks like I'm going to be leaving about a 1/4 of an inch around it. I'm really just kind of eyeballing what looks good. Or at least in my head what I think looks good. This should be interesting. I hate cutting on this side of the ruler. Okay. Get my cardstock out of the way. That looks about right. Okay guys, sorry about that. As expected, I would get that phone call right in the middle of doing this, but that's okay. So what I did was I finished cutting my little tabs off the side. Kind of looking at it, I can tell that I'm farther away here than I am here, but whatever, I'm not overly stressing it. I did go ahead and grab another book page and a piece of, I think this one is tea dyed and it has a little glimmer in there that I'm going to use, I think, for the back for like my writing space. And let me go ahead and, I guess, get that glued. Do that part while I'm waiting on my deer head to dry. Okay. Get this stuff up out of my way. I always have stuff in my way. I don't even know what I'm trying to do at the moment. So I want to cover this whole back in my book page just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. This brown just seems really dark to me. But I wanted it for that contrast on the cover. Plus, you know, cardstock, so it's going to add some, give it a little extra support to the page. And you can be using whatever glue you like. just kind of trying to bray that down a little bit with my hands. The main reason I'm using my box cutter for doing this opposed to like a pair of scissors at this moment is just because my glue isn't dried on there. And sometimes I find if I'm trying to use scissors, it'll want to pull my page off a little. I don't know. That's at least what I found before. So for me, this just seems to work a little better, and that is why I'm using it. But you guys know me, you do you, and you do whatever works for you. And I have glue that missed my little mat here, so I'm just gonna wipe that a little bit. Okay, so let's see. My overall tag ended up being 3 3/4 wide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tall. Maybe I'll remember that. We'll see. So if we're 3 3/4 wide, I think I want to cut this one. Let's go back down to our 3 1/4. Nope, I'm going to do 3 1/2. Yeah, I just want that to have a little smaller edge around it, I guess is the word I want to use. I do not remember how tall this was. 6 inches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 inches. So I'm thinking I'm going to get this where my ruler's on the side I want it to be on. Try to pick my ruler back up. Okay, so 6 is here. Let's see about making this 5 3/4. Kind of hold our tag back there and see what we think. Yeah, I think I'm going to be okay with that. So it's going to sit kind of in that realm. Then what I'm going to do is take my ruler, try to find a pencil, and I'm just going to try to kind of eyeball where those are about the same distance away from each other, I guess. Okay. Put you up, grab you real quick. Snip you off. Snip you off. Dang it, I just put my paintbrush back in the water and I think I'm going to need it again here, but we'll see. think I'm pretty content with that. Let's distress around the edges of it because that is what we do, right? Okay. There was this little tiny piece here I wasn't loving, so just going to give that a little trim off. Obviously, all my glue is still wet. Alright, that's going to be good enough. So this will get glued down like that. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tacky or my Faber-Fix just to adhere these to each other. I'm not worried about a complete coverage with this. I did get a decent line all the way around the edge, and then inside here I'm just kind of doodling with my glue. I can never manage not to get my glue slightly outside of my surfaces, but that's okay. Alright, so we got that. Will be our back. I think I am mostly done with my clear gesso for right now, so we're going to put that up. This is dry-ish, probably dry enough, because you guys know I'm super particular. So I'm just gonna fussy cut around our deer here. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna do all of the antler cutouts and all that, mostly because I'm kind of lazy this afternoon. So we'll see what it looks like without cutting into each one of those little grooves. I snipped where I didn't want to snip at. Okay, whatever, fixed it enough. So by just putting that clear gesso, Mod Podge does the same thing. It's really just kind of gluing all those fibers together. It makes it where you can cut without worrying about your fabric fraying. You could probably do the same thing with like a window under if you iron that down. I just have never tried it. I probably should because I buy fabric sometimes just for doing this with it. So maybe if I did like the window under over the whole thing, I might use it more. I don't know. All right. For some reason, I feel like my house just got extremely hot. And I don't even have a fire going. Okay. So, oh, like I said, I feel like he's going to be kind of lost there. So let me reach behind you guys here and grab some of this cotton. There's my theory, at least. I'm going to, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Get some of this junk back out of my way is what I'm going to do first. Let me move my tag over there. So these were some of the acrylic skins that I made. And what you do is you pour or you paint acrylic paint onto a non-porous, non-stickable surface. So like I did use wax paper for one of them, and the backside comes out kind of matte as well. I mean, there's a little bit of shine there. That was one that I did, and that one was done with like an acrylic pour. And you want them to be pretty thin, but I'll show you on the other ones that you don't want them too thin. These next two, actually next three, I did quite thin. Like I just painted the acrylic on. The next two were done on plastic bags, and I really had to kind of chip away at the edge, like all the way around, in order to get it off. So it really should have been a thicker, kind of a thicker pour or a thicker paint. Now, even after this is dry and set, it's still going to want to be sticky. I don't know if you can notice, but I kind of tore out a few little pieces on accident. I had a piece of paper sitting on top of it and it stuck to the paper. Another one that I did, I really love these colors, the copper and the teals. But again, it was just, I did it kind of, I painted it on, which made my edges really thin, and I had to really work to get it off of there. This was, I don't know if it was my first, second, I don't even know, but I did this one on a clear cutting board from like Dollar Tree. Again, super thin, should have done it thicker. Now on this one, I was able to use like a razor knife scraper to get it off, but you know, of course that made extra cuts in it that I didn't intend to have there. I'm thinking I'm going to use this one or potentially this one with my deer. Let's see what we got going on, because I really want to introduce some brightness. I think I like that orange a lot. Yep, I'm going to use something off of there. Oh, the one thing that I will show you is using something like a plastic bag gave me, this one might show it better, gave me like two different consistencies. This was the side that I was working on, and you get what you normally do. But on the back side, the part that was down on the plastic bag, see, I mean, it's even wanting to stick back onto the plastic bag a little bit. It gave me kind of a shinier, picked up some of the textures of the bag, just gave it a different effect. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Okay, so let's see. But even though this thin stuff is really cool, and I will still use it, by no means am I going to throw it away. I just think it made it far more fragile than it needed to be. Now, once I get it on the paper, we won't really have a problem with it. So I'm thinking something kind of like that. Maybe get some blues going on in there. So I'm just going to cut a chunk of this off so I can get it more into a workable size. Okay, put that there. Move this up and out of my way. So, do I still feel like the deer gets lost on the page? I don't know. I do wish by the magical worlds that I could make the head a little bit bigger, but it is what it is, and I can't change that. You know what? It's not perfect. I'm not in love, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and start gluing stuff down and call it good enough, because I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be able to achieve what it was I originally had in my head with this. So sometimes, at least for me, it seems better just to be like, okay, it's good enough, let's go ahead and move on. Oh, I need a drink again. But, okay. Haha, yeah, you know, me and my whole, let's move on, but now I have another idea. I'm going to just lay down a paper towel so hopefully I don't make too big of a mess. I have some of this glimmer mist sitting here, and this one is in Penny. I really love this color. Let's see if it will spray for me today. Oh, yay, it'll spray. Okay. Now what I am going to do though is I am going to pause you for a minute so that this can dry and set. Should I maybe, I think I'm going to spray this a little bit with the glimmer mist too. Why not? Why not? There we go. Maybe that'll help the deer stand out. I don't know. Probably not, but it could. I guess I could glue him down before I pause you guys. Yeah, let me do that. Maybe that'll give that a chance to dry on its own. So, Fabrifix. Again. I mean, at this point though, you can use whatever glue you want. But I like my Fabrifix, so that's what we're going to go with. I honestly don't know if I love spraying this fabric with that color Fabrifix, or that color of the Glimmer Mist. Kind of made it, I think it's going to make it blend in with the deer, but you know what? Whatever. Whatever. I'm overthinking this project way more than I want to, but it's not accomplishing what I had in my head for it. I hate that when I have an idea in my head of what's going to happen and then it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes it's for the best and it works out better than I was originally thinking. But that's kind of like a unicorn. It doesn't happen very often. Goodness gracious. Okay, sorry about that. We got interrupted again, but it is all good. I don't know if I did this on camera, but all I did was use some of my Fabrifix to glue the lace behind here. This is going to go like that. So what I want to do is grab some more of my glue. Glue him down. Okay. Now what I'm going to do to adhere my acrylic skin on here is to put my top back on my glue, put that up, grab my paintbrush. I'm going to use my clear gesso again. Yeah, I'm going to use the clear gesso. And I'm going to paint this whole back with the clear gesso. At least in theory, I'm hoping that's how this goes. The other time when I used it, I used Fabrifix, and that seems to have held it, but I didn't do as big of an area, so I just want something that gives me a little more working time. I'm going to pause you again for a quick second. Okay, sorry about that. Forgot to close my bedroom door, and my fan is going and it is driving me nuts. So I'm going to attempt to pick this up. We hope. having the whole back of this wet makes it very interesting to work with. And I'm going to lay this down. Okay, that was weird. It's almost like working with the paint wet again, just because um, very pliable. Okay. And I'm just kind of smushing it down to get rid of some of those air bubbles. Now, I'm not worried about this wrinkling up, which at this point is probably a good thing because I feel like it's good luck getting it not to wrinkle up. Okay, I'm going to trim all this off after it dries. Work those little bubbles of glue down because that's really what I have going on, is just bubbles of that glue. Okay, so a wet glue is interesting to work with. Probably would have worked better to do a little bit of the area, push the project down a little bit more of the area, just kind of work my way through instead of jumping in with both feet. But you guys know how I am. I jump in with both feet, or why do it? But wonder. Nope. I was wondering if I could kind of tear some of this, but it's not going to really want to tear. Okay, I don't really like that. It just kind of looks like a gooey mess, like I stuck gum or something there. Okay, I'm going to be impatient and not wait for this to dry. Okay, so the lesson is, when working with this acrylic skin, using something like a clear gesso, a very wet glue, makes it where you have less control of where the skin goes down at. Kind of gives you a wrinkled look. Not sure if the camera's kind of picking that up. So it gives you kind of that wrinkled effect. I don't want to say it's a bad thing because, I don't know, it's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not like, oh my god, that's the worst thing ever. But it's just something to keep in mind, that it doesn't give you the same. Well, here, I'll show you the one I did the other day. I did this tag with it, and I used Fabrifix to hold down my acrylic skin. It does pick up some of the texture from my gesso underneath, but it's not as wrinkled up as this one is. But I'm thinking what I'm going to do is, I have two ideas. One, let this set and use those wrinkles to my benefit, and maybe use like a distressed ink to kind of pull up some of those wrinkles, make them more dramatic. Or my other idea is to again kind of let it dry and try to come in on only this acrylic skin with I'm pretty sure, yeah, I have a gloss Mod Podge in front of me, which I normally don't, but just to give it a glossy effect. I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm also thinking that I'm going to take my copper, because it's fall, copper works, and distress around my edges here because I forgot to do that with I was going to do distress ink around the edge, but I forgot to, so I'm thinking I'm going to come in here with this copper. I should be doing this over a kind of protected area, but I wasn't. And I'm just going to kind of distress and add a little bit of that warmth of the copper. I love copper. Like my living room, or not my living room, I'm sorry, my kitchen is copper and bronze, kind of like accent pieces. Which is funny because I am not like this huge red person, but I love the warmth that you get from copper. So pick it up a little bit, and no, I was gonna say maybe the copper would look good on there, but I don't think it would. I think it would, well, let's see. I have a piece of it sitting here that I ripped off, and it's actually the orange that I'm concerned about. So let's see how it looks on the orange. So I don't know, doesn't look bad. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah, it doesn't look bad. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to put it on there. Alright, well, I'm impatient. We know this, right? So I'm going to take my vintage photo on my my spongy tooly thing, and I'm just trying to kind of hit the tops of it, just to kind of, I don't know, add some interest. Now the problem is I used distress ink. If I had kind of thought this through, I could have used a archival ink and then done the clear gesso over the Mod Podge over the top. I didn't think that through, so I could have gotten the best of both worlds, but I didn't. So, oh well. Too bad, so sad. Let's punch a hole in the top. Just kind of eyeballing where I think is center-ish. Now I need to put some, I never trust the sticky on this, so I always try to put a little Fabrifix glue around just to make sure that it's going to hold where I want it to hold. Maybe I have trust issues. Do we think that's it? Maybe. Alright. I just don't trust my glues to do what I want them to do. Or I trust my glue. I don't trust sticky glues. sticky sticker glue like stuff. Yeah. All right. So there is my fall autumn themed tag. I don't know. What do you all think? I mean, I feel like the deer's a little less lost on there like I thought he was going to be. I had this envision in my head where this acrylic skin was going to lay just kind of flat over it, but it did pick up the fabric corner right there and kind of gave that an edge. I don't know that it took away, I don't know that it added. Definitely not what I had envisioned in my head when we started this. Maybe that was part of my problem. Maybe because I already had an idea of what I wanted, I kind of stuck with it for too long. Because this might have been cool if I had put this over the top of here. I don't know. I mean, we can second guess ourselves. We can drive ourselves crazy. But that's the whole benefit of doing these challenges, is that they're for fun. They're supposed to kind of, well, I don't want to use the word challenge again, but challenge us to do things that we wouldn't normally do. Like make a tag. Yes, I just kind of rolled my eyes. And have fun in the process. Learn things, learn if we like using something or we don't like it, or how we can do it differently, and just have fun. So I hope everybody has a great day. I will see you all later.